Thursday, March 7th. In Moscow, the peace talks between Russia and Finland are officially announced. The Soviets request the ceding of Viipuri, the land to the north of Lake Ladoga, the islands of the Gulf of Finland, the port of Hanko, and peninsula. German diplomats secretly continue to use all diplomatic means to secure an armistice between the two countries. The Nazi leader does not want the Soviets to strengthen their position in the Baltic, and Göring, since the start of the Winter War, has allowed and promoted the gun running to help the Finnish army. Military advisors have also been carrying out studies of the Red Army's strategy and capabilities. The Soviets continue their attacks in the Bay of Viipuri, Viborg, meeting heavy resistance from the Finnish army, which, following the orders of Marshal Mannerheim, is holding out at all costs to try to avoid showing signs of weakness that might increase the territorial demands of the Soviets. However, Mannerheim appeals to the government not to delay signing a peace agreement. In Britain, the government continues with its confetti war, sending RAF bombers to drop pamphlets with messages against Hitler on the city of Leipzig, the Ruhr Basin, and a number of Polish cities. In the Sea War, U-14, commanded by Herbert Wolfath, sinks the Dutch merchantman Vecht. Friday, March 8th. Tymoshenko's troops enter the city of Vyborg, and the Finnish forces pull out before the Red Army completes its encirclement of the city. Marshal Mannerheim believes the signing of an armistice will allow Finland, which managed to break away from the Russian Empire in 1918, to keep its independence. This would be a triumph for the Finnish military compared with Poland and the Baltic countries. In Britain, Hugh Dowding, the head of RAF Fighter Command, speeds up preparations for the protection of the country's airfields. Dowding and Kate Park, the commander of Group 11, charged with the defense of London and the South, ask Prime Minister Chamberlain to delay any action that might provoke a large-scale attack by Germany on Britain. Dowding believes the nation's vital strategic points are not yet sufficiently protected by anti-aircraft batteries. The radar system is not fully operational, and the number of planes the RAF can count on is far below that of the Luftwaffe. In the Sea War, the Royal Navy cruiser Dunedin captures the German merchant ship Hanover off the coast of Santo Domingo, while one of the mines laid by U-30 under the command of Fritz Julius Lem sinks the British cargo ship Counsellor. Saturday, March 9th. While Prime Minister Ryti is in Moscow negotiating the armistice, the Finnish General Staff admits publicly that its troops are being defeated. Almost the whole of Viborg, Viipuri, has been taken, and only a few Finnish units remain to defend the eastern part of the city. The governments of France and Britain are aware of the buildup of Wehrmacht troops on Germany's western borders. Nevertheless, they call on Finland to break off peace talks with Moscow and once again promise to send help. But the Finnish government has lost all hope of receiving outside help and wants to end the suffering of its people as soon as possible. Faced with food shortages, Mussolini orders the prices of all basic necessities to be frozen. The Italian dictator thanks to the British government for freeing the merchant ships detained by the Royal Navy when they were carrying coal from Germany to Italy. As a preventative measure, Mussolini requests raw materials from the Third Reich to be transported by train. RAF planes drop leaflets on Prague, encouraging its inhabitants to resist. In the Sea War, U-14, commanded by Herbert Vorfoth, sinks the British merchant ships Abbotsford, Alkeld, and Borthwick. U-28, captained by Gunther Kuhnke, sinks the Greek ship Margaronis, and Heinrich Liebe's U-38 sinks the Irish vessel Leukos. Sunday, March 10th. In Finland, the Red Army takes the cities of Karpila and Ruella to the north of Viborg and surrounds Rapola. Most Finnish members of parliament join Marshal Mannerheim in urging the government not to delay signing a peace agreement with Russia, despite the promise of help from France and Britain. In Berlin, General Alfred Jodl, Chief of Operations of the OKW, Armed Forces High Command, and military advisor to Hitler, tells the Nazi leader that everything is ready for Operation Weserübung to begin within a week, though in his opinion, it would be preferable for Finland to have signed a peace deal with Russia before Germany begins the invasion of Norway and Denmark. However, Admiral Raeder, the head of the Kriegsmarine, who is also at the Reich Chancellery, urges Hitler to begin the campaign as he is convinced the Allies intend to occupy Norway. Moreover, Germany has signed a non-aggression pact with the Russians. In Rome, Mussolini meets with the German Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop, whom he informs that the Italian army is prepared to enter the war in support of the Third Reich. The American Secretary of State, Sumner Welles, arrives in London to offer to act as a mediator in the conflict. Chamberlain informs him of the Allied plans regarding Norway and Sweden. Monday, March 11th. Winston Churchill, First Lord of the Admiralty, is in Paris to inform the French that British forces will leave for Narvik on March 15th. Paris and London make a joint declaration committing themselves to send military help to Finland if it does not sign a peace settlement with the Soviet Union. Informed of the news, the Kriegsmarine is ordered to place all units on alert, and the submarines of the U-Boot-Waffe take up positions off the coasts of Narvik and Drontheim. However, the Finnish delegation negotiating the peace agreement has little chance of not giving in to Soviet territorial demands. Among other demands, Finland is to give up the Isthmus of Karelia, Viipuri, Viborg, Lake Ladoga, the Ribachi Peninsula, and the Hango Naval Base. In Jade Bay, in the vicinity of the base of Wilhelmshaven, U-31, commanded by Johann Habekost, becomes the first German submarine sunk by an enemy plane. As it sails on the surface, it is spotted by a British Bristol Blenheim, which bombs and sinks it. The 48 crewmen aboard are killed. Later, it will be brought back up to the surface and put back into service. The battleship Bretagne and the escort cruiser Algerie leave the port of Toulon with all the Bank of France's gold reserves en route to Canada. Tuesday, March 12th. Finnish Prime Minister Risto Ryti reluctantly gives his approval to the peace treaty between his country and the Soviet Union. The conditions stipulate that the whole of the Isthmus of Karelia, the land north of Lake Ladoga, including the cities of Viipuri, Kakisalmi, and Sortavala, and an area of Sala and Kusama, will become Soviet territory. The eastern islands of the Gulf of Finland, the western part of the island of Kala-Kastagajarento, and Hanko are to be occupied for 30 years. The Russians may travel freely through Petsamo, and Finland is not allowed to make alliances with countries opposed to the Soviet Union. In the Winter War, the Finns have lost 25,000 men, and 48,000 have been wounded. The Red Army, having mobilized almost 1 million men, has suffered 125,000 casualties and 250,000 have been wounded. After 104 days of fighting, the Finns have lost 10% of their territory, but remain independent. This will save them from finding themselves behind the Iron Curtain at the end of the Second World War. Following improvements in defense systems after the attack by U-47, under the command of Günter Prien, the home fleet returns to its base at Scapa Flow.